Welcome back. I am prepared to be bedazzled because today I'm going to be shedding light on the number 2 reason appertaining to why the land of Draconian slavery and Draconian oppression is a terrible place to live in. So what is this attributable to, you may ask? Without further ado, without further delay, without further procrastination, allow me to demystify an answer to that inquiry right here, right now. Lamentably, much to my dismay, much to my consternation, much to my chagrin, much to my grief, much to my agony, much to my agitation, much to my irritation in the land of Draconian slavery and Draconian oppression, slavery by evisceration fees is perpetrated against people who work real private sector jobs based on voluntary demand. In this controlled market economy, there are over 13,000 evisceration fees that are imposed by bureaucratic apparatuses, which people work real private sector jobs based on voluntary demand pay and did not receive anything for paying. In this controlled market economy, having over 13,000 evisceration fees that are imposed by bureaucratic apparatuses, which people work real private sector jobs based on voluntary demand pay and did not receive anything for paying. It not only amplifies the cost of living, but also concomitantly reduces the standard of living for people who work real private sector jobs based on voluntary demand. When a person's standard of living is reduced, and it can adversely impinge on his quality of life. In this controlled market economy, having over 13,000 evisceration fees that are imposed by bureaucratic apparatuses, which people work real private sector jobs based on voluntary demand pay and did not receive anything for paying, renders it far more cumbersome for people who work real private sector jobs based on voluntary demand to be able to afford to attain a mediocre standard of living. In this controlled market economy, a person needs to have substantial wealth to be able to afford to attain his basic needs, such as the housing need and transportation need. In this controlled market economy, when people work real private sector jobs based on voluntary demand pay, evisceration fees that are imposed by bureaucratic apparatuses, they not only receive absolutely nothing for doing so, but also deplete their hard-earned money. By depleting the hard-earned money on paying evisceration fees that are imposed by bureaucratic apparatuses that they receive absolutely nothing for paying, it is also far more cumbersome for them to establish a sizable investment portfolio. So once again, to recapitulate, modern slavery in the form of slavery by evisceration fees being imposed against people who work real private sector jobs based on voluntary demand, adversely affects people who are part of the real private sector workforce in the land of Draconian slavery and Draconian oppression, since they receive absolutely nothing for paying an exorbitant amount of evisceration fees against their own accord. Paying these evisceration fees berefts them of the hard-earned money and renders it all the more arduous for them to be able to afford to attain a mediocre standard of living in the land of Draconian slavery and Draconian oppression. I hope that you're enthralled, bedazzled, regaled, captivated, mesmerized, amused, and fascinated. I hope that you're entrenched in the unalloyed epicness. Thanks for watching. Have a blissful day. In the land of Draconian slavery and Draconian oppression, people are monetarily penalized for being part of the real private sector workforce because they are bereft of their hard-earned money if they commence working real private sector jobs based on voluntary demand in the land of Draconian slavery and Draconian oppression. Thanks for watching. Have a blissful day.